leave. Don't get the idea. There are no girls. This is a stag party.
Right, very good. The host smiled and said, "You obviously don't get the idea. There are no girls. This is a stag party." Okay.
The young man's wedding was scheduled for next month, so his friend decided to have a special party at a nearby restaurant private room to celebrate the upcoming event. The groom's friends congratulated him when one of the last guests to arrive and entered the room. He stood in silence, looking around and then called out to the host, "Where are the girls?" The host smiled and said, You obviously don't get the idea. There are no girls. It is a stag party.
This is a stag party. Very good. You obviously don't get the idea. There are no girls. This is a stag party. The young man's wedding was scheduled for next month. So his friend decided to have a stag party at a nearby restaurant's private room to celebrate the upcoming event. Okay.
The young man's wedding was scheduled for next month, so his friend decided to have a stag party at a nearby restaurant's private room to celebrate the upcoming event. The groom's friends congratulated him when one of the last guests to arrive entered the room. He stood in silence, looking around, and then called out to the host, "Where are the girls?" The host smiled and said, "You obviously don't get the idea. There are no girls. This is a stag party."
This is a stag party. You obviously don't get the idea. This is a stag party. Okay. Okay.
The young man's wedding was scheduled for next month, so his friend decided to have a stag party at a nearby restaurant's private room to celebrate the upcoming event. The groom's friend congratulated him when one of the last guests arrived. Entered the room. He stood in silence, looking around, and then called out to the host, "Where are the girls?" The host smiled and said, "You obviously don't get the idea. There are no girls in a stag party."
This is a stag party. There are no girls.
That's all.
To celebrate the upcoming event, the groom's friends congratulated him. When one of the last guests to arrive entered the room, he stood in silence, looking around, and then called out to the host, "Where are the girls?" The host smiled and said, "You obviously don't get the idea. There are no girls. This is a stag party." Okay.
The young man's wedding was scheduled for next month, so his friend decided to have a stag party at a nearby restaurant private room to celebrate the upcoming event. The groom's friend congratulated him when one of the last guests to arrive entered the room. He stood in silence, looking around, and then called out to the host, Where are the girls? The host smiled and said, "You are obviously don't get the idea. There are no girls. This is a stag party."
This is a stag party at a nearby restaurant's private room to celebrate the upcoming event. The groom's friends congratulated him. When one of the last guests to arrive entered the room, he stood in silence, looking around, and then called out to the host, "Where are the girls?" The host smiled and said, "You obviously don't get the idea. There are no girls. This is a stag party." Okay.
The young man's wedding was scheduled for next month, so his friend decided to have a stag party at a nearby restaurant private room to celebrate the upcoming event. The groom's friends congratulated him. When one of the last guests to arrive entered the room, he stood in silence, looking around, and then called out to the host, "Where are the girls?" The host smiled and said, "You really don't get the idea. There are no girls. This is stag party."
This is a stag party. You obviously don't get the idea. Entered the room, he stood in silence, looking around, and then called out to the host, "Where are the girls?" Okay.
The young man's wedding was scheduled for next month, so his friend decided to have a stag party at a nearby restaurant private room to celebrate the upcoming event. The groom's friend congratulated him when one of the last guests to arrive entered the room. He stood in the silence, looking around, and then called out to the host, "Where are the girls?" The host smiled and said, "You obviously don't get the idea. There are no girls. This is a stag party."
This is a stag party. Very good. Young man's wedding was scheduled for next month. So his friend decided to have a stag party at a nearby restaurant's private room to celebrate the upcoming event. Okay.
The young man's wedding was scheduled for next month, so his friends decided to have a steak party at a nearby restaurant's private room to celebrate the upcoming event. The groom's friends congratulated him when one of the last guests to arrive entered the room. He stood in silence, looking around, and then called out the host, "Where are the girls?" The host smiled and said, "You obviously don't get the idea. There are no girls. This is a steak party."
This is a stag party. Very good. Good job. The groom's friend congratulated him. When one of the last guests to arrive entered the room, he stood in silence, looking around. Okay, sir.
The young man's wedding was scheduled for next month, so his friend decided to have a steak party at the steak party at the nearby restaurant private room to celebrate the upcoming event. The group's friends congratulated him when one of the last guests to arrive. He entered the room. He stood in silence, looking around, and then called out of the host, "Where are the girls?" The host smiled and said, "You are obviously don't get the idea. There are no girls. This is a state party.
This is a stag party. You obviously don't get the idea. This is a stag party. Okay.
On any picture, I already.
You already did? Oh, okay. Any questions about this? What is a stag?
So stag is an animal, but here stag party is a party where when only male friends can participate in the party.
Right. The stag is a male deer. A male deer. The stag. But when you're referring to something like this, it is a party where only men are invited. And a lot of times it is in expectation of a wedding coming up. And his friend, so the young man's wedding was scheduled, it was set for, let's say, November 20th, next month. So his friend decided to have a stag party. Just his friends that he grew up with, the boys that he grew up with, guys he went to college with maybe, and others that he's working with right now. A stag party at a nearby restaurant's private room. A restaurant, and there is a private room which you can rent for a special occasion. Obviously, this is a special occasion. At a private room to celebrate the upcoming event. The wedding's coming, let's all congratulate the groom and have a nice time with him in preparation for his wedding. The groom's friends congratulated him. When one of the last guests to arrive, there was maybe 30 guests, he was 27, 28, 29 walking in the door. He entered the room, he stood in silence. Whoa! Almost like, wow, what's going on? There's 32 guys here, but there's no girls. What am I doing here? So he entered the room, he stood in silence, looking around, and then called out to the host. What is a host?
So a person who gives the party.
Yeah, the guy that's running the party, basically. The guy that rented the room, arranged for the food and drink and what have you, and put everything together. The host. He called out to the host, "Where are the girls?" The host smiled. "You gotta be kidding me." Well, he didn't say that exactly. He said, "You obviously don't get the idea." Everybody was told, you included, that this is a stag party. And that means there are no girls. This is a stag party. So he left. He just congratulated the groom and left. I'm not staying here, wasting my night. So the young man's wedding was scheduled for next month. Friend decided to have a stag party at a nearby restaurant to celebrate the upcoming event. Arrived, entered the room, stood in silence, looking around, called out to the host, "Where are the girls?" Any questions about the words? Pronunciation. Stag. Good, good, good. Stag. Good, good. Stag at the end. Congratulated. Silence. Stag party. Any questions about the words?
Sure, I like the idea of stag party. Stag party.
Good.
You know, in Thai word, it's not polite word for stag.
What is the Thai word for stag party?
Stag means you eat.
You eat.
Yeah, you eat.
Okay.
But not polite word.
Not a polite word?
Yes.
Stag means to eat,
Yes.
but not polite.
Yes.
No idea.
I didn't know that.
ไม่ใช่สแต็กเหรอสแต็กเพราะว่ากินไงมีสแต็กมีคำว่าแดกสองคำyou don't สแต็กก็คือแดกสแต็กก็คือแดกสองคำ you don't understand you don't get idea
What is obviously mean?
Certainly, definitely.
obvious very clear.
Huh?
Very more very clear.
Yeah, it's obvious to see. You can see quite clearly that you don't get the idea. There's 32 men here, and you're wondering where the girls are. You obviously don't know what it is to have a stag party. It's very clear that you don't know what's going on. It's very obvious, quite clear. Any other questions?
From women wedding we call hen night party or hen party.
A hen party.
Hen party. There are no boys.
I wouldn't think so. And otherwise, it's not a hen party. A hen party would be something like this for the bride, or the woman that's about to get married. They'd have what they call a hen, H-E-N, a hen party, and I'm sure there would be no men there. That guarantee that, I think. Any other questions about this? I should tell you all that Monday is a Buddhist day.
Yes.
And Wednesday is a Memorial Day, a National Memorial Day. So there'll be no class, but then I understand that there'll be no class on Tuesday as well. So there'll be no class Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of next week. The next class will be Thursday of next week at the same time. So Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday, no. Thursday, Friday, yes. So it's just the way things have worked out. I wasn't aware of it until just yesterday, but that's the situation. So just so you know, Thursday is the next class.
We understand.
Anybody have any questions about what we discussed today? Any the words, the meaning of the words or pronunciation? So if anything comes up in the next 3 or 4 days before our next class on Thursday, make a note of it, and we'll discuss it in the class. If there's a word that you come across or something like that, make a note of it, and we'll discuss it here for the next class, which will be next Thursday at 9 o'clock. So that'll be it for today. There won't be enough time to do anything more. So make notes. If you have anything that comes up, write it down, bring it in. We'll talk about it. Work on pronunciation, vocabulary, English newspaper, English news on the computer, English TV, or radio. Whatever you have access to, try to get into it, listen, pronunciation. You don't understand it, write it down, look it up in a dictionary, or bring it in here, and we'll talk about it. So that'll be it for today.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you.
Okay,
See you on Thursday.
Thursday.
We have class on Thursday next week.
มันอันนั้นคือเป็นภาษาโลกยังไงก็จะมาเล่นตลอดอย่างนี้ไปเองเป็นต้นที่เล่นการแข่งดีเลยนะ BRAT เล่นตลอดอยู่ในกระดาษถ้าเป็นแบบได้รู้ของเขาดีขี่ยูเอวาลูกสาวมาตัวนะอันนี้ชาโอ้คิวค่ะ